And we're back. Horse racing coverage. Chad Summers has taken his vacation hiatus from our channel. And he is finally back and ready to go in form today, coming to you live from his barn. I like the new look, Chad. The yellow barn.
Thank you.
Is this your barn?
It's not yellow.
That's a tractor.
That's not yellow? What is that?
It's kind of yellow.
Oh, okay.
There's Barkley ball box. You want to see Barkley Tech ball box?
I guess we know where you are then. Chad Summers, John Hardoon, everybody's here as we have some Breeders' Cup Challenge Series races to handicap. The Princess Rooney, that will be the first race. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that one. But the Stephen Foster is a good one. And that's also coming up shortly. And for you Patreon account clients, our customers, you can be sure that we're going to have 2 more races just for you. Don't forget you have to pay a whopping $5 a month for the privilege to get John's picks. Usually that's about 8 on average a month. And we almost hit one big last week. I want to kind of start off with what happened last week. I know both of you know what happened because I was pretty upset. And after we made...
Are you over it yet?
No, I'm still not. No, I'm over it. I mean, if
it happens to me at least 10 times a year, and they say it evens out, but it never evens out. So.
Yeah, you see, it happens to John 10 times a year, so you can imagine. I mean, for
at least maybe more than 10 times a year.
And so, look, obviously, if you were with us last week on our Patreon page, you know what we're talking about. We had the long shot, Jack the Cat. Jack the Cat looked like he had paid off on the exacta, which would have paid off. I think that would have been what? That was a $100 exacta, I believe, on a $2 bet.
$114, correct.
And they took it away. They had the inquiry, and we found out after taking a look at the inquiry that the rider of the 8, that was Jose Ortiz, got hit in his face with the whip. And when I looked at the angle, it appeared to me, John, that it was like, what, 10 feet from the finish line or 20 feet from the finish line.
Unfortunately, when you strike another horse in the face with the whip, it's an automatic.
Was it the horse or the rider?
The rider's carrying the whip.
It was the horse?
No, but the rider hit the horse in the face.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was the horse or the rider that got hit.
Yes.
Yes? You mean there was the horse?
Got hit. The horse got hit, not the rider.
Yeah, I didn't know. So not that I excuse it. So,
well, okay.
yeah, because look, it is what it is, but it's one of those things, like you said, John, it doesn't happen very often. And when it does, it really, it's just very aggravating, but there's really nothing you could do about it. I mean, it's not like it's a rigged situation.
No, but you'll get put up somewhere down the line where it'll be maybe not in your case, but in other people's cases they get put up.
See, it hurts me more because I don't do it as much as you do. So when I only have my percentages are very small. You have your percentages. You're doing this like 300 a week. So you definitely. When was the last time I came around and helped you?
You never remember those. You always remember when you get DQ'd. You don't remember. I actually do remember. I got put up for a pick 5 a couple of months ago. That was a nice ticket.
Okay.
But it doesn't happen often.
All right. So the last time it happened to benefit you, Chad?
Chad, when was the last time you had a horse that came down or put up, Chad?
The same horse, actually. I won with a horse that got put up with Rajiv, and the very next start he got disqualified and taken down.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
True story.
Talk about evening the score.
Wow. I don't know. It sounded like he would much rather have it stayed up the time it came down.
All right, so we're going to start off with the 2 Breeders' Cup Challenge Series races. And we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the Princess Rooney because, unfortunately, we have only a 6-horse field with a 4 to 5 morning line horse, which you know what that means. That means we could see, like, what do you think, a 1 to 9 shot by post time, John?
He'll probably at least she'll be 2 to 5.
2 to 5. So,
she's not going to be more than that. If she is, I wouldn't bet her. Something's got to be wrong if she is.
Any of these horses have a shot, Chad, to beat CC?
Yeah, I actually CC's not going to be my top pick here. I'm going to go with the number one Spirit Wind, who look, it's a big step up in class for her. Okay, lightly raced horse, coming in off a Florida bred stakes win, but she's fast. She's very, very fast, and she'll be the front runner here. And look, CC's a nice filly. Okay, let's get nothing wrong. She won the Breeders' Cup last year. She's a very, very nice horse. You don't lose a lot in defeat when you lose to a horse like Latruska in the Apple Blossom. However, it's her third start cross country. She's gone from California to Arkansas, back to California, back to Arkansas, back to California to Florida. When she won this race last year, she went from California to Florida. It was the first time she shipped that way. Okay, she's 6 years old now. I think she has lost a step, although the numbers might indicate otherwise. I don't think that she is the best horse in the world, needs some pace in front of her to close into. And the way I look at this race, I can see Spirit Wind clearing and being in front, doing things her own way. It's not often that you think Lionel Reyes is going to steal a sprint race, but I can definitely make the case that I think she makes the lead and she's in front comfortably, and CC is going to have to run her down. And look at what'll probably be 15-1. I'll take a stab here at Spirit Wind on the class test.
Isn't it a lot?
You're also getting 8 pounds, Chad. So I can start making the case. If I was going to try to beat CC, and I don't think she could lose personally, I would do it with the bottom horse. But make mischief. But Chad's horse is okay. Listen, Chad's horse is lightly raced. She's won 3 in a row. She's won her last 3 races by a combined 23 lengths. I can see the case, but off the numbers, though, CC just appears to be strong. But you make a good point. And by the way, CC is also coming off of Lasix. The last time she came off of Lasix, she ran 4th. So her last 2 races were on Lasix. Saturday she's off of Lasix, so keep that.
And look, Make Mischief. She's a filly that's a very inconsistent filly, but on her best day, she's a nice horse. When we were watching her, she ran last on New York Bred Day here, Memorial Day weekend or that Monday, and she looked great. She looked the best she's ever looked. She's filled out. She was much the best against New York breds, but when she's had the class test against Open Company, she has come up a little bit short. That being said, other than CC, look, she's probably second, third choice in this race. I think Glass Ceiling will get a lot of support. But yeah, I think Make Mischief would be the third horse that kind of figured in the mix. But like you said, look, it's tough to put together a try ticket or something like that when you got a 6-horse field.
Well, you may be better off watching, unless you want to take a shot with one of the 2 other horses.
I'll take a shot with Spirit Wind.
Well, hopefully Glass Ceiling does take some money because, John, what you mentioned with Make Mischief, if you take a look at the last 6 races, 17, 14, 13, 10, then had the one bad race, so we're going to draw the line through it, and then the next race came back with a 7. So This is a horse that, which is one line drawn through a bad race, has gone really well with the sheets, and if his last race was a 7, we're only talking about a 4-year-old here, so why can't she run better than a 7 on Saturday?
Well, the problem is you're hoping for her to do her absolute best to run a new best, where CC's last 6 races, with the exception of the race 2 starts back at Gulfstream going 2 turns, every one of her numbers are a 6 or better.
Yep.
So,
And the only thing I will say that does need to be mentioned, Glass Ceiling and Make Mischief, both coming from New York, going to Florida. And one thing that people have to know is it's a lot easier to go from a warm climate to a cooler climate. And New York, believe it or not, has been cool. We had a lot of warm days. I know they have around the rest of the country, but New York's been relatively cool. It's not as easy to ship from cool to warm, especially when you're running without LASIK. So Glass Ceiling, Make Mischief, it's a little bit of a big ass. Make Mischief's been there a little bit longer. Glass Ceiling literally just left a few days ago. I think that plays against them too. CC is going from warm to warm. It's okay. The other horses are based in Gulfstream, but
Chad, Make Mischief doesn't run on LASIK. She hasn't been on LASIK,
No. It's not about being on LASIK.
Oh, it's the heat?
Going from cool to a warm climate and not having LASIK.
Okay. I'm with you.
All right, so that's the Princess Rooney. It's going to go off about 5:20 on Saturday, but it's Gulfstream, so 5:30.
They've gotten a little bit better, John.
They're much better this year than they've been in the past.
All right. Now
Next.
comes one of the other big races, the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series races. Race 9 at Churchill. Race 10 at Churchill. And that is the Stephen Foster Stakes. This is a grade 2, 4-year-olds and up. So this is race 10. Should go off about 5:47 on Saturday. And we'll start with the 1, Cattle River. And Cattle River, take a look at, now this has got to be in our exactas. It will be in mine, that's for sure. You take a look last year, you ran into these big races, grade 1, 2 grade 1s and a grade 2. This Nat I'm going to kill. And didn't do anything. The sheets weren't very good. The results weren't very good. So all of a sudden this year, 19, 9, 8, 4, bounced a little bit to a 6. So it's much better this year. But now, all of a sudden, the Cattle River gets to go back with the big boys in the big stakes race. So, but we only care about the sheets. And the sheets, John, say 6 and 4, last 2, and I'm getting 10 to 1.
Yeah, but listen, at 10 to 1, you're obviously going to use this horse. But he did get good after getting Lasix. He got Lasix for the first time with the 14 last year. And after that, he's improved with each start. But he's allowed to improve with each start because he's a 4-year-old. Listen, at 10 to 1, you don't ask questions, you use them, but, whatever.
Ed?
My concern with Cattle River is twofold. One, he seems to run his best races with a little bit more space in between. And the second thing is, and I'd be very interested to hear Jonathan's take on this, okay? Cattle River is a horse that appears to be really, really talented when the competition isn't as good as him. When he's the best horse in the race, he looks like a wonder horse. When he's run against tougher, granted, it was last year, so maybe he has just improved from 3 to 4, but he was an average horse against better horses last year. This is a class test. This is the toughest field he's ever faced in his life. And for that reason, I'm going to play against him, even though the numbers say you should use him. I'm going to toss him and think that when he looks at the better horses on the eye, he's just not going to have enough.
Okay, I'm with you. I mean, listen, I've never met a horse that knows how to read a form, so he doesn't.
Listen, I'm telling you, I've seen this for years. Believe it or not, you'll see horses, and a lot of times it'll be like you'll see a horse who's had a lot of success in State Fair company and then goes to open horses and stuff like that. It's not reading the form. Like Cattle River's not going to sit there and be like, oh, damn it, American Revolution won the Carter last year. Mandolin was put up in the Derby. Like, I get that. But when they look at horses, and if they're bigger than them or they're more intimidating or whatever the case may be, I mean, it's not the movie Let It Ride or stuff like that. But I do think that they could be intimidated by other horses. And Cattle River, when he's run against better class, he just hasn't performed as well. Okay. We'll see on Saturday.
That's interesting.
Listen, he's 10 for 13 in the money. You have a big advantage breaking from the rail at 1 1/8 at Churchill, I think. See, the reason I like the race is because I don't like Mandolin, who I know will be a short price. And I would take a shot against Mandolin personally.
All right. Well, the 2 is not one of the top 2 choices, but the 3rd choice, American Revolution at 7 to 2. This is a Pletcher horse. By the way, Pletcher not having a great typical Pletcher meet so far. 5 out of 8 wins for this horse. And last year, 11, 9, 8, 2 5s. Starts the year with an 8 and a very disappointing 4th place finish last month. But again, you're getting close to 4 to 1 with 2 of the top horses in this field. So what do you do with American Revolution, John?
Well, last race, you could give him an excuse. It was his first race back off of a long layoff since last November. Or December, I should say. And listen, going into the last race last year, every race, 11, 9, 8, 5, 5. He was getting better with each start. He's allowed to make a forward move, and I would expect him to make a forward move.
Ed?
Look, this is a horse. He's the real wild card in this race, if you ask me, because I don't think Todd Pletcher would point for this race if he wasn't doing really well off the 4th place finish. Todd Pletcher's a guy that kind of picks and chooses his spots. He has other horses. He could have run Fearless in here. He could have run Happy Saver in here. He takes American Revolution. Look, American Revolution was short in the last race because he wasn't preparing to run last time. He was supposed to run on New York bred day against New York breds where he was going to be 1-9, and they only had one other horse that wanted to run against him, so they canceled the race. So this was kind of the backup plan. He ran a week later. It was a further distance than he was planning on going. He was not prepared to run in a race like the Blame. He's moved on forward from there, and I like the fact that jockey Luis Saez, and this is really interesting, okay?
He's united with Saez.
So Luis Saez didn't ride him last time because they weren't planning on going in the race, so he'd given other commitments away. Now, Luis Saez could have stayed in New York, possibly gotten the mount on Life is Good, who would be 1-9 in the Nehrude, and the mount on Charge It, who he's ridden in every one of his starts, who's going to be odds-on favorite in the Dwyer. Both horses trained by Todd Pletcher. And however, Todd Pletcher, who trains American Revolution, says to his agent, Kieran McLaughlin, and to Luis Saez, I need you to go to the Stephen Foster. I need you to go to Kentucky. And Todd made that decision, okay? That was completely up to Todd if he wanted Louis in New York or he wanted Louis in Kentucky. And Todd said, look, we want to chase the big boys. We want to try one more time in the Stephen Foster. Look, he got his grade 1 in the Cigar Mile last year, and he ran a 5, and he was a great performance that day. If he gets a second grade 1, he's a bona fide stallion. And that's what WinStar's looking for is stallion prospects. This is a big, big race for American Revolution. And the fact that they want to go against these horses again, they want to attack the grade 1 at this point and bring Luis Saez with them. I think American Revolution is very, very live here and is a must use on all your tickets.
All right. Well, let's go with one of the other favorites of the race, Olympiad. And Olympiad has the best sheet line in this race because unlike Mandolin, who had that disaster last time out, Olympiad has 2 6s, a 4, and a 6 on the season. So there's been nothing wrong with 4 wins in 4 attempts for Olympiad, John. 5-2. What do you do with Olympiad? Because you only can take one of these 3 favorites.
Well, who are the 3 favorites? Mandolin and Olympiad are the favorites.
Well, American Revolution, co-favorite, almost.
Well, Olympiad is fine. There's nothing wrong with him. And he's another one that's making a forward move. He has the 4-2 starts back. Last time out, he won at Churchill. He's 1-for-1 at Churchill, 1-for-1 at the meet, 6-for-9 lifetime. Nothing wrong with Olympiad.
Ed?
Look, Olympiad's a horse that John and I watched live, actually, on Derby week when he ran last time, and he looked like he was dead to rights. Happy Saver looked like he went right by him. And
yeah.
Happy Saver, a win going away. And Olympiad dug back down. And not only did he battle to the wire, he put Happy Saver away and won by 2.5 going away. You don't see that. Look, Bill Mott's done a great job nursing this horse, bringing this horse along. And this was not the initial target. They were going to wait for Saratoga. So to send them back to Churchill and take on a small field, I like the way this is going. Olympiad obviously going to take a lot of money. I just don't know really how good he is. I'm not a Happy Saver guy. The horses he's beaten along the way, he's run very well at Fairgrounds. But when he ran well at Fairgrounds, it was after Mandolin and Midnight Bourbon left to go to Saudi Arabia. So he didn't face the same caliber of horses. This is going to be the toughest race Olympiad's ever faced. And at 5-2, which will probably be 2-1, 5-2, I'm going to lean more towards Mandolin than Olympiad. But we'll talk about that when we get a little bit closer.
Idle Ready is the 15-1 long shot in the race, and this horse has no wins in the last 6. The only good thing I could see on the sheets is improved each time out, 15, 13, 9, but a long way to go for Title Ready. No way in this competition, right, John?
No, and he's 7 years old. You don't get better at 7, or very few horses do anyway. I mean, he's just, no, I don't like him.
Chad? Nothing?
I'm in agreement with John. He's chased softer and come up short.
Olympiad beat him last time by 4 lengths.
No, he's not that. I don't think he's good enough.
Proxy is a 9-2 shot. Rosario jumps on board, it looks like, for the first time. The horse has never won at this distance. Started off good this year with a 7 and a 6, but the last 2 were just 10s, John.
The last 2 were both without Lasix. The 6 and 7 were at Fairgrounds. Last year, his best number was also at Fairgrounds. I have a feeling this horse likes Fairgrounds.
Ed?
Look, he's a well-bred horse. He's 9 for 11 in the money, but I just think he's not a win candidate here. He can pick up a piece, but I don't think he's a win candidate.
All right, here's the favorite, Mandolin, coming back from the Saudi Cup disaster, but not like that hasn't happened before to some of the best American horses. So you look back at what this horse did before that. Of course, the Louisiana race, that was a 4. That was the best race for Mandolin, the 2021 Kentucky Derby winner that never got to celebrate on Derby Day. So, what about Mandolin, John?
Well, I listen. He could win. He could win. Okay, but the 4 that he ran 2 starts back was his only race on Lasix, and it was by far the best race of his life. He's back off of Lasix, and then he went to Dubai, couldn't use Lasix there, and now he's back here where he can't use Lasix. So if you look, his best number he ever ran was other than the 4 on Lasix was 7s last year. Yeah, you're allowed to improve as a 4-year-old, and horses do improve as a 4-year-old. But I don't want to take him as the favorite, and he will be a big favorite here. This is the favorite I would try to beat.
Chad?
Look, even when things don't work out for Brad Cox, they seem to work out for Brad Cox.
Mm-hmm.
He got left in Saudi Arabia for 3 weeks because they had trouble getting a plane to bring them home. It was very uneasy for a lot of the horses that were over there. He went to the farm after that, came back, and they kind of took their time. And Brad Cox ends up running in a grade 1 with a 7-horse field where he's going to be the odds-on favorite. It all seems like it works out for Brad Cox. Mandolin is a horse who loves certain things. One of those things that he loves is Churchill Downs. He trained as good as anybody going into the Derby last year. And if he actually would have parimutually crossed the wire first, a lot of us on this call would have been a lot happier. I think he's a horse that is a horse for course. He's 2 for 2 at Churchill, being put up at Churchill Downs in the Derby. He loves Churchill Downs. The race is going to set up perfectly for him. He's got a great post. He can do whatever he wants. Florent Giroux needs to make up for last week's disappointment effort with Juju's map. I think Mandolin wins this race and wins this race convincingly in this field. I think he's better this year than he was last year. I think he was 80% when he won that race at Fairgrounds. Look, Brad struggled internationally. He struggled with Nick Sko last year. But when Nick Sko came back and Nick Sko was right again about this time of the year, he won the Cornhusker and then didn't look back on route to winning everything else in sight, including the Breeders' Cup Classic. Mandolin's on that trajectory. I don't know if he's as good as Nick Sko was, but this field is not as talented as the ones that Nick Sko beat. I think Mandolin is definitely the horse to beat. And I don't think he's going to take as much money as you think, John, unless you add in the Brad Cox factor. I think that Olympiad is going to take a lot of money here.
Well, he's gone off 90 cents to $1, 3 to 1, 30 cents to $1. When was he ever a price? I guess in
the Kentucky Derby.
He was 20 cents to 1. And he won, but nobody collected. That's good. Nice go.
By the way, Chad, when you come back from these big trips, you look at it more of, that's just an excuse if the horse doesn't run well, or is it more of, well, let's see what the trainer's history is with these types of trips? How do you work that into your handicapping?
A lot of trainers have struggled internationally speaking. There's not a lot of trainers in America that have had a lot of success shipping, whether it be to Dubai or Saudi or England or wherever, other than Wesley Ward seems to dominate in England, although this year he was winless. I think it is a factor. Not only is it a factor of how they do over there, but it's a factor of how they do when they come back.
Yes.
I'll tell you assuredly, there were mistakes that I made the first year I shipped that we corrected the second year we shipped. And even though, like Mind Your Biscuits was able to win his first start back in 2017, and he ran second, beating a nose in the Met Mile in 2018.
How much time did he have off, Chad, when you brought him back when he won?
So when he won, he was off until literally the John Nehru, which was called the Belmont Sprint Invitational, which is run on Saturday. So the timing wise is fine.
So he didn't answer the question. How much time off did he have when you won the race?
He was at TaylorMade for 45 days.
Okay. 45 days. That's a popular number with time off for horse.
Hardoon had 3 weeks in Saudi Arabia after the race, not by his own choosing, where they weren't training because everybody left. There was one groom taking care of all the horses. There was no riders there. There was no anything.
So he was on vacation. He was literally on vacation.
He was on vacation, and then he went for another vacation, and he came back. And look, I think Brad Cox is a really, really smart guy. And he learned from the experience with Nick's goal last year when he ran back in the Met Mile and actually probably ran terrible in the Met Mile. But I think he's learned, and the fact that he's coming out of his own stall at a track that he loves goes a long way. And look, there are times when you sit there as a gambler, like you two guys are, and you say, I don't want to take 4 to 5. I don't want to take 3 to 5. But there are times where 4 to 5 is not a bad wager. I know a lot of people that were betting the Stanley Cup. You're getting 4 to 5 on either team you wanted in there. And if you're right, you're right. It's a small field, and he's a horse that if he's as good as he's supposed to be, and I understand what you're saying, John, like American Revolution's numbers, the 2 5s he ran last year, arguably are better than anything he ran without Lasix last year, and they're both 3-year-olds. But Mandolin has the home field advantage, and I think that has a lot to do with this.
All right, the 7 Last Samurai doesn't really have a shot. The sheet line is very similar this year to the 4 Title Ready, so nothing with Last Samurai, John?
First time Lucas. You're the Lucas fan. No, he's too slow. But it is. I don't even know if that's a positive. I would treat that probably as a negative training change, to tell you the truth, even though it's first time Lucas. Dallas Stewart's very good.
Yeah, it doesn't say how Lucas became the trainer. Do you know how, Chad?
Lucas became the trainer because Dallas Stewart got into a fight with the owner. And Lucas, who Dallas Stewart worked for a long time, said, yeah, give me your 13 horses. I'll take them. Look, I think Lucas is at a stage in his life where he's not going to say no to a lot of things. He has a really nice 2-year-old now that broke their maiden last week, too. Look, he knows he's more on the back 9 than the front 9, and he wants to be in these races. Lucas forever loved running in these big races, and Willis Horton's a guy who's had success. This horse deserves to be in this race off the last win. It's just, believe it or not, probably a little too short for him. His best races come a little bit further distance. I don't think he's a win candidate here, but why not? Look, I'm surprised, although not, because this industry will do this to you, that Lucas agreed to take horses from one of his proteges. But I guess Lucas just doesn't care.
All right, pick time as the phones start to ring.
All right. I like the 3 Olympiad. I would use them with the 1 and 2, trying to beat Mandolin. But obviously, what Chad made a case for Mandolin, and if he won, it would be no surprise. I like 3 with 1, 2.
Chad?
I like the Mandolin with American Revolution and Olympiad. I think you have to use just because he just always shows up.
All right, and I'm gonna take that 1, and I'm gonna put that 1. Probably with the 3 and maybe the 6 if I can get some halfway decent odds in an exacta. But Caddo River, I want to try to make some money in an exacta with that horse.
The other Cox horse in the race.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. All right, now these next 2 races are for our Patreon customers only. So everybody out there that has been with us for almost a half hour, we're gonna say goodbye to you. But as far as our Patreon customers, we're going to continue on. And again, if you want to become a Patreon customer, it's very simple. Just visit the page, patreon.com/PrimeSN, as little as $5 a month, and you get every show that we post on the channel. Okay.
The exacta in the 9th race to Churchill will pay more than $5. So you guys should just buy.
That's right. So let's that's a nice teaser. So see ya, everybody. Okay, let's go with race 9 at Churchill, and this is a 6.5 furlong race. Kelly's Landing overnight stakes for 3-year-olds and up. We'll start with the 1 Awesome Jerry, a Safi Joseph horse who is not bad when you take a look. If you're trying to look for some value here, 10-8-8 in the 3 races so far this year, John. So heading in the right direction. Those 2 8s were wins. So what about Awesome Jerry, John?
Well, this horse is going to actually be my top selection only because of price, which is the most important thing to me anyway. And the fact that Safi Joseph has this horse good now. I mean, his last 2 races, both of them very good. One of them was at Churchill. He broke for the 2 post that day. He's got the rail today. You don't always want to be on the inside, but obviously this horse could deal with it. If this horse is really 8-1, he's going to be my top pick.
Chad?
As our friend Lee Corso likes to say, not so fast, my friend. Awesome Jerry has either gotten really, really good all of a sudden, or it's a fraud. It's a phony. I don't buy it. Those 2 races, he beat horses that have no desire to win. Gunnett, I swear, Gunnett has no desire to ever win a race. Soup and Sandwich, the race before.
By the way, bet Gunnett last week. He was running every which way but straight in the stretch. What was he doing? He was a drunken.
He doesn't want to win. He doesn't want to win. This horse beat horses that don't want to win. Today or Saturday, he's running against horses who like to win, who like to complete the exacta. You might be right. Awesome Jerry, if he runs back to his last 2 races, he's tough to beat, and you're going to get rewarded at a price. For me, I'm leaving him off all my tickets. I don't even think he comes in the Pentafecta. Wow. I don't like.
Whoa!
Well, he's only a 4-year-old, so doesn't he have a chance to improve?
He does, just not today. But listen, I hated Strike Rich, so what do I know about Churchill Downs?
Okay. All right. Next up is a long shot.
The only guy.
A 15-1 shot. Heart Rhythm. Last 3 races are a 9, 7, 10. What about Heart Rhythm, John?
Well, he made my list also. He's one of my hookup exactas. I like the 7-2 starts back, even though it was at Oakland. He got credit for being wide that day. But this is another 4-year-old who has a license to get better. His last race was at Churchill. It was the bounce off the 7. This horse is fine. I think he has a shot to run a 9 or 8, and I'm using him in exactas really because of the price.
15 out of 18 in the money. Heart Rhythm. What about this horse, Chad?
This was a great $50,000 claim. I think he's a nice horse. When we teased it kind of on the main show, going to the Patreon show, this was the one. This is my key horse in the exacta. He's just a cool, honest, solid horse, a much bigger price than he should be. And this is a horse that, if he runs well, I'm going to try and make an attempt to buy privately because I think this horse has so much in front of him. He's a really, really nice horse. I like this horse a lot today.
By the way, look who beat him last time out, Caddo River. So
100%.
I could see it.
That would be that'd be a nice double. Okay. Next up is Knee Deep in Snow, an 8-1 shot. This horse had a 7 in January, then ran a 9 3 starts later in April, 13 last time out. What about 8-1 shot, Knee Deep in Snow, John?
I don't like him. He looks a little slow. He was claimed 2 starts back for $80,000 by Matt Shear away from Mike Maker. Not many people improve off of Maker, but not many people claim horses for $80,000 either. I guess they had this race in mind somewhere down the line, but I don't particularly like him.
Chad?
This is a horse who actually has been claimed 3 times for $80,000. I've never seen that in my life. 3 different times this horse has been claimed for $80,000. Normally, if you run one for $80,000, nobody's going to take it.
Right. You never see one time claim for 80. He was claimed 3 times.
3 times he was claimed for $80,000. That's what he's worth. He's worth $80,000 to $100,000. Just a touch slow in this race. It is worth noting the one time that he did win. He broke his maiden on Derby Day for trainer Mick Ruiz, and Mick Ruiz was telling everybody the horse couldn't lose, and they paid a fortune. So I'm sure we'll have some Mick Ruiz money in on Knee Deep in Snow in this race, but probably a touch slow in this field.
All right, next up's the favorite, Aloha West, a 2-1 shot. Rosario on board again. Now, after the Breeders' Cup Sprint win, that was a 4th straight 6 to end the 21 year. But the first 2 races, as Aloha West has turned 5, have resulted in a 3rd and 4th place finish and back-to-back 10s. This is something that the horse has never done before, John.
Well,
in a negative way, of course.
Yeah, but the 10 last time out was a distance. I don't think he wants to go the mile. He's a closing sprinter, and when you stretch them out, usually they hang, and he hung. Listen, he's not as good this year as he was last year, and he's the favorite. So, I mean, if you could find excuses for the first 2 races this year, well, you could play him if you want to play a favorite.
Yeah,
I don't like making excuses for favorites. I mean, I would include him because I'm keying an 8-1 shot, but he's not going to be my key.
Yeah, this is a type of favorite that you want to try to avoid to make some money if you can, and you do see that there are some potential pitfalls. Chad?
I think he gets back on track today. Look, He ran his 2 starts to start the year off an extended layoff that wasn't really the initial plan. They toyed with taking him to Saudi Arabia. Eventually, they decided that he was ready to run on Derby week, and that was partially Wayne Catalano, partially the partnership, big syndicate, Eclipse Thoroughbreds, who likes to be in these kind of big races. He ran against Jackie's Warrior his first start back. Then it's like, okay, well, you got beat by Jackie's Warrior, who might be the fastest horse in the country. What are we going to reward you with? Let's your second race.
Throw you to Flightline.
Let's go run against Flightline, who might be faster than Jackie's Warrior. Look, it's not fair to the horse. I think he ran against better horses, despite the fact that he's a Breeders' Cup winner. The Breeders' Cup Sprint last year will not go down as the strongest Breeders' Cup Sprint of all time. Well, is he as good as last year? I don't know. Is he better than the 210s he ran? Yes, I think he's much better than the 210s he ran. And nobody fits this horse better. Even though Jose Ortiz did win the Breeders' Cup with him, nobody fits a closing sprint
Rosario loves this
experience than Joel Rosario. Joel Rosario is the best on closing sprinters. I think Aloha West gets back on track here today.
Okay, next up is the co-favorite, pretty much, and that's Bango, the second choice at 5-2. Gaffalione on board, and Gaffalione was on board last time out with a win. That was a 9. Things looked pretty decent at the end of last year with 6 and 8s, but only a 15 and a 9 so far this year, John.
Well, I like Aloha West a lot better than I like Bango. That's for sure. I mean, the Bango could certainly win, but I think he may react off the 9, to be honest with you. The 9 at this point of his life may be an effort. And as the favorite, I would play that he's going to react and not run well.
Yeah, what about...
Go
ahead, Chad.
I had a question for you, John, on this, because I agree with you. I think he regresses off the 9. There's a stat out there. Greg Foley, the trainer of Bango, was actually 25% with horses who won their last start and then win again their next start. When you see a stat that's that strong, do you then reevaluate whether or not you think the horse is going to regress, or is everything taken at face value? Because, again, I agree. I think he does regress. But it is worth noting that Greg Foley, when they get good, they stay good.
Yeah, well, listen, obviously there are exceptions to every rule. So if this is the trainer's move and you believe in it, that's fine. But, I don't. To me, it's not that big. It's not that important of a stat because we don't know the horses that came back and won, who they were, or what they ran against. But so in that case, I'm just looking, and not only that, but this is a favorite or the clear second choice in the race. So for that reason, I want to try to beat him.
The one thing we know for sure is he's certainly going to know his way to the paddock and to the racetrack. He's run here 13 times on a track that only runs about 4 months a year. That's very impressive that Bango's made 13 career starts at Churchill Downs.
And he's 10 out of 13 in the money also.
Yeah, 7 wins. Yeah.
All right, the 6 Bob's Edge is 6-1. And you take a look at the sheets on this horse this season, 7, 4, 9, 4. So that's pretty impressive. What about Bob's Edge, John?
I think the 4 he ran is the end of him for a while. Not only that, when horses run big races like that, sometimes it takes them a while if they ever even get back to it. Last year he ran the 6, which was a big number, and it took him over a year or close to it to come back to it. When he came back, and when he ran that 4 2 starts back, I think this horse is going to need more time. He's only 6-1 also.
Chad?
There was talk over the wintertime that he might have been the fastest horse in the country, that he was going to take the mantle and run with it and take the place of Jackie's Warrior. But since that big race, he's gone nothing but backwards. He's a horse to me that screams, I need a vacation.
All right, next up is the 7, Start from the Bottom. And
come on, where's your Drake, Greg? Where's your Drake?
My what?
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Where's my what?
It's the Drake song. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah. That's not my
Chad is just so worldly. We got no shot against him.
I mean, I'm not into that kind of Drake, not me. So start from the
he just released the song. By the way, he just released a song with Jack Harlow named Churchill Downs. So this is, if you like those kind of spot plays, this is definitely a spot play.
Well, look, the good thing about the horse, 2 things. 1, 30-1. 2, the horse is pretty much a straight arrow with the sheets all the way. But the problem is the best race was an 11, That's a far away number than what we're going to be looking for. But still, we are talking 30-1. So why not put the horse into the exotics?
You need a single digit. The five of the first 6 horses we saw are all faster than him. Yeah, you want to bet him because he's 30-1? Go ahead. You're not going to win.
No, he's too slow. He's too slow to win. He couldn't even win at Balterra last time. He was second. Now, granted, the horse that won is a nice horse, but if you can't win at Balterra, I don't think you're going to win in Church.
Now, the 8 AC Expressway. Take a look at this horse, and his sheet line has been pretty decent. End of last year, 16. Started the year 13, 11, 9. So everything was going in the right direction. Had one bad race, so we're going to draw a line through that. Next race, 7. So,
by the way, the line that you're drawing through that 17 was without Lasix. And tomorrow or Saturday is going to be without Lasix again. So you can keep that in mind. Even though that 17 was a route race, that was at a mile. This is only 6.5. Listen, the line is okay, but he's a lot more likely to react and go backwards than repeat or make a forward move.
Chad?
I agree. Look, he'll be closing late, but I mean, I just don't think that he's fast enough for some of these other horses. I think he'll probably just be too far behind.
All right. And then the 9 is miles ahead, a 6-1 shot, ran a couple of 6s since December, but the last 2 races, 17-13, John.
Well, the 17 was a ship to Santa Anita, so you want to excuse that, you can. But then why the 13 last time out? You know, this is another one who ran a 6-3 starts back. He may never come back to that race, or certainly not in a while. And that 6, by the way, was for Eddie Pleasa in Florida, and Pleasa worked wonders with this horse. You know, a lot of the good numbers was when Pleasa was training him. I don't like this horse.
Look, this is a horse that I actually tried to purchase privately, and Samantha Siegel of JMS Stable actually got to him before me. It's not often you see geldings purchased privately because they have no value as a stallion. It's only as a racehorse. And she spent a pretty penny on this horse. Sent the horse to California. Thought the horse would run well. He ran awful in that race in California. She made a change, switched the horse over to Paul McGee. The horse ran a better than it looks race last time. If you go back and watch the replay, I like the 2 workouts since that race. I think this horse is better than his last 2 look at, and I think he's going to get a little bit of a price. This is a race, even though it's a 9-horse field. I think you can get cute, and if you like the 2 at a price in Heart Rhythm, I think this is another horse you can use on your tickets in exactas and tries at a price. If Miles Ahead gets back to those 6s, it wasn't that long ago, John. It was literally 3-4 months ago.
I could see making a case for him, Chad. You're 100% right.
That I think can get back to it, and if he does, you're going to be rewarded at a price. And he's a horse that I have to use on my tickets.
So what's your ticket, Chad?
Well, I'm going to take Aloha West on top, unfortunately, but I'm going to go with the 4-2-9.
And I'm going 1 with 2-4-9. The 1 is the horse from Jerry. 1 over 2-4-9.
And I'll go the 4 with the 8 and the 1.
The 8.
And the 1.
Okay, you're trying to double up the ketchup for your DQ last week. Good luck.
Sounds like
I'll put the 8 and the 2 in an exacta just for the hell of it. Okay.
1 with 2-4-9. Chad had 4 with 2-9. All right, we're all over the place.
All right, and then the last race on our card today is Belmont, race number 9. It's a turf race, 6 furlongs, $92,000 purse. Turf race, as I mentioned. And there are 5 horses that will not run in this field because they're main track only. So, and the weather's fine. So there's going to be 10 horses in the field. And as far as this race, John, we're not going to go horse by horse, but go ahead. Tell me, who do you like and why?
Okay, the reason I like the race is because when I find a field of 11 horses or 10 horses or whatever after all the MTOs come out, and I don't like the favorite, well, then I'm interested in the race. And as hot as Christopher Clement has been, and he's been on fire, I would try to beat the 7. I don't think he's any better than a lot of other horses in the race, and he's to be the big favorite.
Look at the 7. The 7's got a 15 and a 16 this year.
Right. So why would I want to play him at 5-2? The horse that I was interested in, believe it or not, was the 12, who was 20-1 on the morning line. His last race was his first start since February of 21. He certainly needed that race, and it was sprinting on the grass, and he actually ran a pretty good number. Ran a 14. If he repeats that race and makes a forward move off of it, he's as good or better than a lot of other horses in the race. I would use the 10 in the race. I would use him with the 1, 2, 3, and 11. But there's plenty of room because I'm using big price horses there. I like the 12. I'm sorry, the 12 mail order with 1, 2, 3, 11. 12 with 1, 2, 3, 11.
Yeah, actually, the 1, 2, and 3. I was like, when I was looking at those three initially, even before the odds came out, I was like, you know what? I think those are like the three horses that might be the way to go. So I'm glad that you said that because I'm completely lost in this race. But Chad, what do you like?
Well, there's a couple of trainers in New York that are having ridiculous meets. Christophe Clement, Chad Brown, they're winning at 35%. And the only reason why they're not winning at 50% is because they run two horses in every race that they run in.
Right.
So
that hurts their stats.
It's one of these things where, look, I think stay whatever. What's the 7 horse?
She's the one.
She's the one. She's the one is the horse to beat. First time against Open Company, but ran a solid race. I actually like the cutback in distance. But I'm with John. I like the 12. I thought the 12 was my top selection here. I thought that she's acting as though she's on an improving trajectory, and that's what I want. I don't really love the post, but she's going to be my top pick here. I like the.
We're on the same 20-1 shot. We found.
Yeah, that's. I hope that's a good thing.
Smart minds think alike, my friend. What could I tell you?
I think the 11 can pick up a big piece of it. And I do want to briefly just talk about the 6. A little laugh. This is her first start in 21 months for Bruce Levine, who you don't see a lot of these long layoff horses. She was a nice horse back in the day before she went to the sidelines. And she's a horse that's going to be a huge, huge price. Bruce has done really well with first-time starters over the last 3 or 4 months. This horse has been gone for so long, you almost have to treat it like a first-time starter. So I'm going to include her in my ticket. So I'll make the race 12, 7, 11, 6. But the 6 at a big price, I think you got to look at, despite the 21-month layoff.
But quick question, John, what's the A for after, what does the A mean?
Arrogate.
Oh, that's a racetrack? Arrogate?
No.
Argentinian bred.
What? Not making fun of me.
Which horse?
What?
Where do you
No, like for instance, like the 2 horse A127.
Oh, allowance. That's an
allowance
race.
Why don't they just have ALL like all the other?
I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? It's an allowance race, $127,000 purse.
Okay. Maybe that's just the way Belmont does it. All right, sounds good. Great to talk to both of you guys at the same time again. And let's keep in mind that, you know what? Since we didn't do it today, we'll do it on Monday because Chad and I are back on Monday. What we'll do is we're going to talk about the HISA ruling. So we'll do that on Monday with Chad.
There will be a lot to talk about Monday. There's going to be a lot of interesting things that are going to happen in the next 96 hours. So
yeah, because four senators already from other states have filed complaints about it.
Interesting. So. Okay, and then we'll also take a look back at
40,000 horse people.
Then we'll also take a look back at some of the key races at Royal Ascot that we have not talked about since Chad's been away. So those are some Breeders' Cup Challenge races and just some other key races of note. So that'll be on Monday's show as we're back with Chad.
By the way, I'm happy your show is back because I get a lot of emails asking about it. So now I don't have to answer them because your guys are back. So that's good news.
And John, you and I will be back next Thursday.
The 5th as they race around the
Thank you,
time.
boys.
Take care.
All right, have a good